It is Star FM is sounding good all the time. You get to do tinzim.com with Coach Tafadzwa. Tinzim is a segment where we discuss issues to do with parenting and teenagers with Coach Tafadzwa, who is a life coach with over a decade of experience working with teenagers, preteens, and parents both in Zimbabwe and abroad. He also leads the Edutainment Center and has a popular book called My Dating App. If you're a parent and you're serious about parenting and training up your child, raising your child well, this is really a segment for you. Today we're talking about little big choices, the small decisions that make a big difference. Coach Tafadzwa, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Wonderful. So let's talk about the little big choices.
Yes, so we are at that time of the year when O and A levels have finished. Some are yet to finish their exams, but they're going to be finishing soon. And the next big choice that they're going to have to make is prom. I'm sure even during our days that was a thing and it's still a thing. So when you're in high school, O level and A level, you're in a controlled environment. You're in a regulated environment. But then the moment you get out of that environment, you're now into the zone of self-regulation. So you're now into the highway. You have freedom to do more things that you couldn't do when you were in that confined environment. So now you're faced with a lot of choices that you've got to make, and a lot of seemingly small choices that you make are choices that will determine the rest of your life. So they've got a huge impact, but they just seem like they're little choices. I'd like to liken these choices to seeds. So a seed can be very small, very little, but then once you put that seed in the ground, maybe it's a corn seed, you will within a few days see the seedling coming out, and then it grows, becomes big, and before you know it, there's a maize cob there, and then there are lots of seeds similar to the one that you actually planted. So now you're getting a harvest of that which you planted. So it was a small thing, but now it's bringing to you a harvest. So that's what happens with choices. Certain choices seem very small. And now that you've just finished your O-level exams, you've just finished your A-level exams, and you're in that zone of freedom, there are choices that you're going to have to make. And some of them will seem very small. It could be a decision to decide between going or not going to prom. It could be a decision to accept or not accept a certain dude or a certain girl. It could be a decision to be a part of a certain squad, certain friend group or not. Those little decisions will actually end up making huge impact in your life as an adult. So I was thinking this is the time where I get invited to go give little talks to many of these prom events. So I was invited on Friday, and I was thinking to myself, what do I share with this? Because normally at these events, this is a party, and students want to be in a party mode. They're excited and all of that, and they don't want all this very boring long speeches and all that.
Speech let me talk to you kids.
Yeah. So you've got 5 to 10 minutes and you've got to talk about something. So I'm going to be sharing some of the things that I decided to share with these guys because I think it's relevant to all O levels and A-level students out there. And if you're an A-level student, this show is for you today. And if you're a parent of a child who just recently finished their O or A-levels, then you also need to listen, or you can tell your child to tune in and to listen. So first of all,
grade 7 prom.
Oh, great!
They also have their prom.
What they do? What do they call it? Prom? I think.
I'm actually preparing for a grade 7. She's having a prom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, a grade 7 is a little different. It's a little different because even though you are done with primary school, you're still a child. You're still controlled.
I know. But then now, I guess they're growing up fast, the kids.
All the dresses, the whatever.
Yeah.
You have all of that. Yeah. And
it's grade 7 we call it leavers party.
Yeah, leavers party.
So they call it leavers party. Some actually then call it prom as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, in grade 7, I don't think the whole date thing happens. Like you bringing a date and all that. Is that allowed?
I think it's subtle. They
it's
actually
subtle,
do it,
right?
but then it's subtle. Yeah?
Oh, you
Huh?
did?
We,
Really?
we did, but in a very subtle way, like you
Exactly.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then for the O levels, for the A levels, now some are 18 and they are now adults. So they actually
They
bring their actual
grown.
date. And in front of teachers, there's going to be making out and all of that
Eish.
because they know you're not going to do anything
I'm
anyway.
going to varsity after this. I'm done with
Yeah,
you.
I'm done with you. And then sometimes they actually do it to sort of spite the teachers. But normally there aren't many teachers, if at all there will be, because sometimes students just decide and plan this whole thing alone. So let me start by just talking about prom. Now that you've actually mentioned it, this is like the rite of passage for many. This is like the highway. The passage into the highway of adult life, and a lot of people get overexcited and they feel like I now need to do all those things that I couldn't do. Now I'm an adult. I can start doing stuff. So there are those who maybe would have decided that it's going to be books before everything else. But now I'm 16. I'm done with my O levels. Let me now start this whole dating thing, and I'm free to do whatever I want to do. And at some of these parties, depending on where and who's organizing, there could actually be alcohol because they're saying now I'm 18, and some want to try out alcohol for the first time. And I've had a lot of incidences where spiking also happened. So you just get your drink, and what you don't know is that there's a drug inside or there's alcohol inside. And you know what alcohol does? It messes up with your judgment. Your judgment is now impaired. You would do things that you do not ordinarily do. So if you're planning on going to prom, these are some of the things that you actually have to watch out for, especially if you are on the conservative side. Because if you are not, chances are you've already tasted alcohol and done things before. So you are a little more careful and you know your stuff. But then if you are new to these things and you're saying, I just want to do because now I feel like I'm an adult, I've reached the 16, the magic number, or 18, the magic number, let me just try out these things, then you may get into trouble. It's just one night, and that one night can jeopardize your whole future. So there's some points that I would like you to have at the back of your mind as you make decisions, not only for prom, but going ahead with your teenage life. The first one is I want you to understand that group vibes, solo consequences. So there's group vibes, solo consequences. You know, there are
Even adults listen. Group vibes, solo consequences.
Yeah.
You know, eish.
You should never let your squad decide your future because they're not going to be part of the future.
Okay.
You know, the people that are
Yeah,
so
that's
important.
so true. But the kids this time they won't understand it. But then it's good that you're having this conversation. Yes.
Yeah, it's
group
important.
vibes, solo consequences. That's
Yes.
it.
So you decide with your crew, you do something, but what you don't realize is in the next year, 2, 5, those people that so mattered in your life now wouldn't be there at all, and you don't even know where they are. They are all in different places. You know, I think I've given this example before, but I'll just repeat for the sake of the O and A levels who are listening. So it was some years ago. They just had their prom night. So normally they're after parties. So there was an after party and and it was going to be a pool party. So there was a squad of 4 girls. 3 of them were already dating and had brought their dates to the prom, and then one wasn't, but then she was just like dragged along and she had gone. So the 4, in fact the 3, because they dates, decided they were going to go to the after party, and the 4th one didn't want to go, but then because of pressure she decided I'd also go. So they went out, and she thought it was going to be one of those like big parties where everyone else is there. They arrive at the house where the party was happening, only to realize that there was just four guys. So 3 of them were the dates of the other girls, and then one was just like one. And you know how it is when you're teens and you're in such a space, you kind of automatically then have to like be with this other one because you're the only one who doesn't have a date and you can't be alone, and this guy can't be alone. So she was kind of set up, but she didn't know by the 3. So anyway, it's a pool party. They're in the pool, and then for the first time they decide, okay, let's just try wine and all. So they're trying it. They get a little tipsy. As crazy as it might sound, one of them decides, okay, we're going to get our bikini bottoms off, and then we throw them out, and then we play a game and all that. So they throw them out, and the boys we're not in the pool. So that happens, and then it's now time to pick them up. And who's going to do it? Because now you have to get out of the pool. and nobody wants to. So they called the boys and then asked them to like throw them in the water, and the boys wouldn't. They said, "You're going to come out at all." Cut the long story short, things happened, and then the following day, this one who didn't want to be part of this whole thing was now afraid she may have gotten pregnant. Things happened. She wasn't sure whether what happened could lead to pregnancy or not. But this is a person who wasn't even up for the idea of going for the after party. But then because she wanted to be part of the squad, she wanted to roll with her friends. She did. And then she ended up getting into trouble. And the three, obviously, because they planned it and they had everything in their minds, they were happy and probably sharing stories about it. Because
but you was let
you
me
were
just go
joining
peer
her.
pressure. Let me just,
Yeah, and then that became a problem. And then the second point related to choices that I need to share with you, young people. If you ever find yourself in a wrong bus, the best time to jump off is at the first bus stop. So there's this thing when you know you're doing wrong, or when you know you're in the wrong bus, you're just saying, okay, let me wait. I'll decide. Maybe in Chadzikira Norton. Yet you want to go to Mutare and you've boarded a Bulawayo bound bus. And you're saying Chadzikira Norton. You have to jump off the first bus stop, because you save yourself a lot of time. Because if you're going to jump off later on in Chegutu or wherever, it's going to take more money to come back, and then reroute. It's going to take more time. So you have to quickly jump out. So if you ever find yourself in a place where you're now feeling guilty and you know that you're in the wrong place, that's the time to just get away. Don't procrastinate to make that decision, to move away from that decision. And also you need to understand that every choice comes with strings attached. And you don't know what the string is attached to. So each choice you make, each decision you make, you're pulling a string, and you're pulling it along with whatever it is attached to. So you have to know that, and it's important. You have to make choices now about your health. What a lot of young people do not realize is when you're in a school environment which is regulated, you're forced to do sports, you're forced to be active and all of that. So in a way, you're actually managing your health, you're exercising. If you then don't decide to come up with your own maybe personal exercise routine, you're going to realize between the time you leave high school and the time you start uni, you may start gaining weight, and you are all of a sudden not becoming as healthy. Why? Because you're in a place where now you have the freedom, and you can decide, I'm not going to be waking up early. You can decide, I'm not going to be jogging around. I'm not going to be doing sports and all of that. So it's a decision that you have to consciously make. And if you make it at 19, at 18, it can stick with you. And then already you have you have imbibed in yourself a good culture that will stick with you. And then another decision is dating. So now that you're 18, you're an adult, you're going to the world, and you may decide to maybe date somebody who's 5 years older, 10 years older, and these people are experienced and their expectations are very different. Dating yeku high school yato siana out there in the world, where you're dating somebody who has their own expectations and all of that. So that decision, it's something that you really need to take time before you actually make, because you might feel like, oh, I'm an adult, I can do whatever I want. And even the issue to do with sexual expectations, it's different, because now you're being treated as an adult. You're no longer being treated as a kid. You're no longer dealing with somebody who's your age. Their type of swag and their type of demands and all of that it's different. Now you're into the real world, so you have to set your own boundaries. You've got to have your own rules and say, these are my personal rules when it comes to my own life. And then there are also choices to do with your career. This is the time to make the choices. And once again, don't just make choices because you've got a friend who went to college X, so I'm also going to follow there. Or I want to be a doctor or a nurse and all of that. The kind that we would say when we were in primary school. Uniform ya nurse yakanaka, and then the next thing I want to be a nurse. Oh, I see that my lawyers are not fake those gowns, and then I want to be like that. You now need to actually fact check, to do a proper research so that you make a good decision. If you need to take a gap year, actually it's worth it, because you're giving yourself time to to make the right choice, to make the right decision. Because this is the last time that most parents are going to be willing to fork out money for you to invest in you. After that, they're not going to be willing to continue paying money because you probably have siblings and they need to be taking care of those siblings. So this is the time to actually think seriously about the choices that you're going to be making. So if you're out there, you recently finished your O levels or your A levels and you love reading, I've got a little book that I'm sure you'd love to read. Please just send the word teen to my WhatsApp number. The word teen, nothing else, to my WhatsApp number. And my WhatsApp number is 0773 606 728. 0773 606 728. And if you're a parent of a teenager who recently finished their O's or A's and you also want something for you to read, please send the word parent to my WhatsApp number. I'll give it for the last time, 0773 606 728. Just that word. You know, I don't know, people don't want to listen. I would say this and then I would get, my name is what, and this is what. When you do that, it's not going to work. Just that word is enough.
Please, parents, listen. Coach Tafadzwa, thank you so much. Little Big Choices. This has been really helpful. If you're a parent, I think you need to go watch it again and, watch it with your daughter or your son as they then transition to the next stage of their lives. Thank you so much. And these are also adult lessons. Thank you so much, Coach. Just know if you make any mistakes, the repayment is always double. That's a message we got there from Robert. Also taking notes as an adult. Yeah. Thank you so much. We'll do this again next week, same time. tinzim.com with Coach Tafadzwa. A Star FM sounding good all the time. Check it out with mine. 11 o'clock, time for the news.